Well, Coach, kind of a long break, obviously, before Ole Miss. Just what has this week kind of been like for y'all, and then just going into Ole Miss?
Well, took a couple of days off and then came back and worked hard and just trying to get better defensively. I think we've kind of uh, I don't want to use the word gotten soft, but we just we gotta be tougher defensively down the stretch on ball. You know what I try to do defensively, guys. It really takes about 1.5 to 2 years to teach your team. It's amazing what we have done in such a short period of time. And I acknowledge that. I've told them that. But we're trying down the stretch to do something that hasn't been done here in a long time. And you got to just be as hard nosed, aggressive, tough, physical as you can be in a man to man. And so we spent a lot of time this week doing things like that. Obviously, today, tomorrow, you focus on Ole Miss.
Defensively laying games, has it been a fatigue thing or anything like that on the perimeter, or what have you
Some
looked
of
at?
it could be fatigue. Some of it could just be it's a new philosophy and they're used to switching a lot, used to going under screens. Just kind of um, just reiterate to them what we really want with on ball screens and what we really want with pressure on the ball. Now that changes game to game. If you're playing a team that you can't keep them in front of you, then we got to make adjustments. But just a team mentality that everybody's got to guard that ball. Everybody's got to help each other. And it this week allowed us to get back to how it was the first couple of weeks when I started practicing with them on everybody guard that ball. Quit worrying about your man. This isn't one-on-one basketball. Everybody help each other.
I should know what you mean, but what do you mean when you say you're trying to do something that hasn't been done here in a long time?
Well, I would love for us to go to the playoffs. That hasn't been done since when? See, you don't even know. That's how long it's been, Scott. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You forget.
They would have gone in 20 if there'd been a tournament.
Okay, well, we don't know that. You don't know the committee, what they think, all right? Then we'd also like to finish in the upper half of the league, right? We'd like to finish maybe ranked in the top 25 if possible. Hey, let's be a little bit selfish and greedy. I'd sure like to host a first and second round. Give them things to shoot for that are realistic. But if you don't, the ultimate goal is to get to the NCAA playoffs.
And don't you think you're there?
Oh,
So you
Lord,
don't
don't
wanna think
ask
about
me
that?
that. We're 18-4, but there are a lot of people that have that record. We're what, 6-3 in the league, and there's a bunch of us at 6-3 in the league. Will they take a lot in the SEC? Well, sure. Sure. Look at how many they take every year. But you want to not take things for granted. Nothing's guaranteed in life. We got to go do it. We got to go play and compete. And just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing, but let's do a little bit better on the defensive end and be a little bit tougher. Let's hold people under 40% shooting, and just kind of getting their attention when we have a bye week.
Kim, at this point in the season, you're usually looking for some more depth. Have there been any people beyond the eight that you in the rotation that are rising up a little bit that you might be able to count on?
Well, you hope that when given an opportunity, you'll go in and make a big shot or get a big rebound or get a big steal. I can't tell you that all of a sudden we're going to be able to give a lot of people a lot of rest. We're down to crunch time. We're down to grinding it out. It's not that I don't have confidence in those players. Some of it is just experience. Just experience. And if you put them in a game, you got to make sure you put them in a game to do something positive. Don't ask them to do things they're just not ready to do yet.
And just to talk a little bit about Ole Miss, it was kind of a surprising result of that game with Tennessee, and this is looking like a team that's a really big threat. What makes them good? What is the biggest concern for you with Ole Miss?
Are you talking about surprising the Tennessee-Florida game last night? Okay, well, you jumped ship on me here. Um, Nothing surprises me anymore. I played Florida. That didn't surprise me. Maybe how bad they beat Tennessee surprised me. So in a lot of ways, as I watched that game last night, you want to pat yourself on the back and say, my gosh, we only lost by 1 and we had a chance to win that thing, and Tennessee got blown out, right? But I don't think like that. I think we're going to get another shot at Florida, and they're darn good, and they're playing good. And I don't understand why that girl hadn't been named the head coach yet. What else does she have to do to be named the head coach? What are you waiting on? For somebody else to hire her? And that's not taken up for a friend. I don't know her, but I know what I see. I know how hard it is to be an interim, and you lose your best player in the middle of the year, and you're still doing what you're doing. So go to Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is as good defensively as anybody in this league. They are all active. They're all quick. They have a superstar in Austin, but they play within their abilities. They're in the same boat we are. The only difference is we're ranked a little bit higher than they are, but their record is similar to ours. They are trying to get to the postseason and win as many in the league as they can. They're playing good. Look what they did to Missouri last night. And so, yeah, it's getting down to the last 7. It's getting down to the last 7, and you got to compete on the road, and you got to make sure you win at home.
Oh, we talked about a little bit after the Arkansas game about the offense, and then against Kentucky. Just what have you seen of the offense in the first 3 quarters, and then in the fourth quarter, y'all scored 30 the last 2 games?
Well, I tend to give credit to the opponents. They scout you well. They know how to defend certain people. And then the fourth quarter, the good players step up, make plays. I thought Kayla Pointer did it the other night. I didn't realize she scored 19 in the fourth quarter until you guys mentioned it. She's a special player. Maybe she was just trying to keep y'all in your seats, I don't know. But it's no magical thing that I tell them, other than just keep playing.
Kim over here. The school just announced that LSU football players will be able to make a little bit of money off of an NIL deal that gets personalized jerseys sold for them. I have to imagine that will probably trickle down to all of the sports if it's possible. Your thoughts on that? Obviously, Alexis already has an NIL deal. There's changes that are coming, and I'm sure as a coach you welcome maybe spreading the wealth around.
I'm not sure what you're talking about with football. I do know that we had a big gathering of businesses here this week. It was well attended. They had a panel speak, and I was learning as much as the businesses. I didn't want to be a part of that panel because I don't have all the answers and know all the rules. You have to remember, I've been doing this 38 years, and it used to be you boosters stay away, and now it's like the wild, wild west. I would imagine we're going to have our share of it. I would imagine that businesses have probably already inquired through our compliance people about us. We're not allowed, which I think is it's very difficult. We're not allowed to even talk to businesses to say, hey, you need to do this kid or this kid. Oh, that's a good kid, that's a bad. We can't even talk about it to them. We will be finding out that businesses are signing NIL deals with athletes sometimes when you find out. That's the amazing part of it all. They can go do whatever they want and never ever, tell me. Different states have different laws. Different states have different laws. And so I'm learning, well, what is the law in the state of Louisiana? Well, I'm not sure, but I think you can go do it with high school kids in the state of Louisiana. Check it out and see. That blows my mind. Yet in Texas, didn't they have a kid that left the Metroplex and signed at Ohio State? He got his $1 million NIL deal, and he's not at Ohio State anymore. He's back at the University of Texas. I'm learning. It is wild. The thing I would say to boosters and donors, they've been scared and threatened not to do anything for years. So I think a lot of them are still gun shy and don't understand really what they can do, to help. And I certainly can't get involved and pick up the phone and call people, but it's here to stay. The transfer portal is here to stay. NIL is here to stay. And I would think, this is just my thoughts for the future. There are a lot of schools with bigger brands that have more money, right? And have a lot more donors and boosters. So I guess the rich get richer. What happens from an NCAA standpoint? What happens to those schools that have been able to compete with the rich schools and the big brands? What happens 20 and 30 years from now? Does it separate and those guys form their own league? And you got about 25 big-time brand schools over here, and then everybody else? I think along those lines that when I retire, what's it going to look like? That's about all I know. But I definitely see we're going to get a share of our pie, I would think.
Kim, forgive me for using a football analogy, if I would, but college football coaches talk a lot about being in position to play for something significant in November. Is it being good enough to be in contention for big things? So what does February mean to you in terms of, like you said, you've had a little time to maybe kind of recharge and refocus. Anything, not different, but what's the emphasis? What's the mindset like for you and that you want your teams to have in February?
What I want this team to have right now, I want them to play as if they're not in the NCAA tournament. I want them to play every game like we need just one more win. Wow, we need just 2 more wins. Hey, that's how I want them to play. I want them to be hungry now like they were when we started. Don't become content. We have not arrived as a program. We have had an outstanding season, and let's see what happens. Then you know what March Madness is all about. You're excited. You're not going to have to play each other in the league again. It brings a different kind of renewed energy. And if we can just grind through this last month and just stay hungry and play the game like you're not in the NCAA tournament.
Back here, Coach. Two-part question about Hannah. Was she a healthy scratch against Kentucky, and how has she handled this transition from Big 12?
It was just my decision.
Okay.
Coaches didn't know about it. Just my decision, the flow of the game, and she's practiced hard, and just get ready for the next one. You may get 30 minutes the next game, but no, it was just a coach's decision, and I shared it with nobody.
How has she handled the transition from Big 12 basketball to SEC?
She can answer that better. If you're asking me from my perspective of coaching her in the Big 12 versus the SEC, Hannah was a freshman at Baylor, and she was basically behind 2 older players that had played in the Big 12. One is probably going to be the first pick in the draft. And so she had to come in as a freshman and get pushed around and shoved around, and you know how it is when you're bigger, faster, stronger. And so she understood how difficult it was from practices. And so she came here with me, and I think she sees those older players are still at LSU too. And she just has to just stay focused on basketball. Go to school, and then focus on getting better every day. And it's our job as coaches to put her in positions to look good. It's our job to put her in positions to gain confidence. But she has to do her part too. And we forget, she may be the tallest kid we have, biggest kid we have, but she's only 19 years old. And I think when she came with me, a lot of I don't want to say pressure, but a lot of people thought, wow, she was a McDonald's All-American. She's 6'5". Let's make her the face of the program. Are you kidding? That's not fair to her. And so let her grow and let her learn, and just give her time. Give her time.
Got time for a couple more questions if there are any. All right, thank you, guys.
You got a question, baby? So you got to watch these media people. They try to cut these sessions short.
Last week after the Kentucky game, you talked about right now they're kind of getting tired at the end of the stretch. What are y'all doing different now in practice towards the end of the stretch?
Well, you don't stay on the floor long. I've just always believed that, and I go back to when I was a player. Okay? Tell me what you need me to do. Let's go to work. Let's play hard for an hour and a half. Let's get off this floor. You can't keep them long. You lose them. It's the same way in the film room. Get your point across. And I've always done that as a coach. When you start getting into mid-January, you got to keep them focused. And keeping them focused, guys, is not keeping them out there for 2, 3.5, 4. If you haven't done your job by now, you're not gonna be very good anyway. You present your scouting reports. You do some things in the off time. I took them to get ice cream. Okay, I said, let's go get some ice cream. Okay, I didn't eat any. I don't need any more. Hell, all I do is eat down here. But it's just a change. They didn't know where we were going. We went for about an hour and 25 minutes the other day, and I said, you got 10 minutes to get back on this court and meet me. And I had coaches line their cars up, and we went and got ice cream. Just keeping them fresh, keeping them excited, keeping the fans excited. We haven't arrived. We haven't done anything. Everything is new. And I think those are examples of things through the years that I've done just to break it up a little bit.
Would your if I had to guess, if you had ice cream, would your favorite flavor be strawberry?
No, I like I don't know that I've ever eaten an ice cream I didn't like. I like it all. Pralines and cream, strawberry, chocolate, vanilla. Lord, I can eat a good old banana split. Now, what I don't like cherry. I don't eat cherries, don't like cherries. Fruit. Favorite fruit would probably be strawberries and peaches. And isn't that funny? Those are Louisiana deals. Right. Ruston was known, peach orchards, right? And strawberries, Ponchatoula, Hammond, all that area. Yeah, what else you want to know? Come on, ask me now. I'll tell everything my soul. I'll bare my soul today.
That wasn't really my question, but that was an interesting insight. That was good. You mentioned Austin, obviously a superstar player. When you have a player like that and you think, oh, what's the matchup like with her and a player like Afua for you? Do you think about the one-on-one matchup, or you think about what you have to do
you better give her help. That's what we've worked on
right.
defensively is you can't guard Austin one-on-one. You just can't. And she is a post player that Foss is going to have to guard, but at the same time, I cannot expect Foss to do that by herself. The good thing is she is not a post player that's going to take Foss outside and shoot the 3 ball and drive by her. Most of her work is done on the offensive glass. Most of her work is done at the high post, and most of her work is done on the 360 move on the block, and we can give her help there. My worry with Foss and Hannah and all those guys is when we play smaller teams that spread the floor and they shoot the 3. That's very difficult to give a lot of help to. But I think as athletic and as good and as Ole Miss is, I think it's a good matchup for us. I love that cherry. Let's get that straight. Jalen Cherry's the only cherry I like. The only cherry I know. You got that right. All right, guys, y'all be good.